Hey everyone, welcome back to Chef Ismael's Kitchen Quest. In today's episode, let's talk about comparison. Every dish tells a story, and with Rough Chop, that story begins with passion, precision, and purpose. We bring the soul of your vision into the world of fine dining, creating an unforgettable experience for those who are wanting more than just a meal. Whether it's a private dinner or an elegant catered event, this is where every plate becomes a moment. Elevate your next gathering with us and book now at roughchopllc.com. It's never been easier to compare yourself to someone else. Social media, showing off perfect plates, restaurant lunches, top 50 lists, the Michelin Guide, or just other social media influencers in the food game. And believe me, I've been there, wondering if I can keep up with the rest or even if I'm fast enough for this game. But there's something that I had to learn the hard way. Comparison is the killer of creativity. It paralyzed me in trying to create new dishes, and worst of all, it made me forget why I was even cooking in the first place. There was one advice that I received from one of my friends, and it had nothing to do with cooking, but it was about life in general. And the advice that he told me was, you're not behind, you're not late, you're just on your own timeline. And that really made me rethink about everything I do moving forward. At the end of the day, you weren't meant to cook like other chefs. You weren't meant to plate like them. You were meant to bring your own story, your flavor, your roots to the table. A lot of these great chefs didn't gain any fame or notoriety by copying other chefs. They learned from them. They learned from their craft. They learned different skills from each and every restaurant they worked in. When I started really leaning into my voice, the earthy spices, my Mexican heritage, the things that really made me, that's when people really started to pay attention to me. And that's when my cooking really started to elevate. Comparison really does come from insecurity. And I'm not saying that to call anyone out. I say it because I lived it. I've looked at chefs in the past and I told myself, why am I not there yet? Why have I not opened up a restaurant yet? Why does their stuff look better? Why didn't I get that opportunity? And every time I did that, I cooked worse. Not because I didn't have the skill, but because I wasn't present in what I was doing. I wasn't focused on what was a task at hand. I always looked at the future or I always looked at the past, but never what I was doing in that moment. Now, this sounds really cliche, and I'm sure you've all heard this before, but the only person that you're competing against is yourself. One of the things that I've always asked myself after every shift in my restaurant was, did I grow today? What could I have done better? Did I serve with a purpose? And that is the real scoreboard of who you are as a chef. You can stay locked in your craft, your voice, your journey. Success becomes a byproduct of consistency, not validation. Because when you stop comparing yourself to others, that's when you really start to create. If you're listening to this early in your journey, maybe you just started culinary school or you're currently working the line. I want you to hear me clearly. You're doing better than you think. The fact that you're showing up, the fact that you're trying to grow, that already puts you ahead of most. You don't need a viral post to prove your value. You don't need a title to validate your skills. What you need is to keep going, keep refining, keep showing your story on the plate because there's nobody on this planet that can ever copy that. So in conclusion, let me leave you with this. Comparison will kill your joy. Creativity will bring it back. Don't ever trade in your flavor for someone else's recipe. You've got something powerful in you. Now trust it. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, stay passionate, stay focused, and keep moving forward with a purpose.